Hello everybody, and welcome back to another one of our 7-star Tera Raid build videos. Now, if you're here from the previous one, which is the High Dragon, I'm feeling a lot better today. I've had plenty of time to kind of recover. Not feeling under the weather at all anymore. Feeling pretty good, actually. Feeling pretty energized, despite it being a little late at night right now. Anyway, let's get actually into the video. A little bit ago, the Pokemon Company announced that the next 7-star raid, and I believe I think we only have one more, like, for sure scheduled after this. No, what am I thinking? There's at least a couple more, right? We haven't done all the pseudos. I don't think we've done Kamao. We're going in order, so we haven't done Kamao, and we haven't done, what's it called? Dragapult, who's kind of like the best one. Or at least up there. No, we totally have done Kamao. That was a bit ago. That was in July, wasn't it? Yeah, it totally was. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about this one. There's at least Dragapult left on the dock. But today we have Goodra. Goodra, of course, is a pure Dragon-type Pokemon. It's going to have the Tera type water. This is the Pelosian, I believe you would call it, Goodra. Not the Hisuian form, where it also picks up that Steel type. So it should honestly be a little bit easier to deal with. At Tera type water, so it is going to completely change types there. It's a bit of an interesting one, but when you look at its abilities, you'll get why. Normally, 7-star raids have hidden abilities, so this would be gooey for Goodra. But I'm definitely thinking it's going to be running Sap Sipper to kind of neutralize that grass weakness it has otherwise as a pure water type. Now, of course, it could still have gooey, and if it does, all of these sets should still work. All of these sets are built to handle a Sap Sipper Goodra, but they should still apply otherwise. It could also have hydration. Don't know why it would. It's going to have Sap Sipper or it's going to have gooey. I'd lean towards Sap Sipper, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, all these sets should work either way. Rain Dance is definitely going to be on this Pokemon. Goodra, it's not like an iconic move, I wouldn't say, of Goodra, but it's a water Tera type Goodra. Ash's Goodra, for example, used Rain Dance pretty famously in his finals match versus a Line, if I remember correctly. Watched that plenty of times as a kid, so I can like picture it doing it. It does it and then sets up the raid for the Greninja. Ash's famous Greninja. Muddy Water is going to be a great way for this Pokemon to take advantage of that raid. It's a very high power water type move. And as a Tera Water in the rain, it's going to be hitting pretty hard. Dragon Pulse, of course, with Pokemon's Dragon coverage. It's worth noting that Goodra has a very high special defense and a slightly higher special attack stat. I expect this Pokemon to be more special focused. Most of our sets here attack it physically to get around that high special defense stat, and the ones that don't have other ways around it. But I'm definitely seeing this Pokemon more specially offensive, but it does get quite a few physical coverage moves, so I thought I'd mention them here. Of course, Iron Head being one of them, Earthquake, Power Whip also being one of them up there on the screen. Ice Beam and Dragon Breath are some other options that this Pokemon could use for coverage. It also gets Curse, Body Slam, and a signature move called Shelter, which I believe it's like Protect, right? Let me look that up. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it's like Protect, but also boosts your defense. Let me just make sure on that. Steel type move, yeah. Yeah, raises the user's defensive stats. That's, I assume. Okay, no. It's not like Protect. What am I thinking? The user makes its skin as hard as an Iron Shield, sharply boosting its defense stat. So I could definitely see that it using that to kind of get around the fact that we're hitting it physically. In that case, special might be a little bit better, but again, it would have to use that. And I don't really think it's gonna. I thought I'd put it up there, though, because it's Hisuian Goodra's kind of signature move. So it's worth noting. As a pure water type, again, Goodra is going to be weak to grass and electric. It's going to be in raids from November 21st to November 23rd, and then once again from November 28th to November 30th. That second run is going to be in raids with the Blissey event that normally runs alongside these 7-star raids, where it's like, it drops a bunch of EXP candies and, what's it called? Tera Shards. So if you struggle with that first run, wait till the second, get a bunch of EXP candies, and then you should be fine, assuming you have the right Tera, which of course you can do with those Tera Shards that the Blissey drops. With that being said, I believe we've mentioned everything about this Pokemon, so let's get into our builds. I don't know what you expected. You saw a Tera Water Pokemon, and you didn't expect to see Iron Hands. I don't know what you're doing here. Iron Hands, of course, is a fighting and electric type Pokemon. You're going to be the Tera type of electric and the Shell Bell held item. When it comes to its moves, you got a moderately standard Iron Hands moveset here, albeit without the Drain Punch. Instead, you're going to be running Thunder Punch as your main damage output, obviously. Belly Drum on there, of course, the Iron Hands big thing. I also actually believe it learned Supercell Slam. Yeah, so you might want to get rid of... I'm going to do it. You know what? We're going to run Supercell Slam instead of Thunder Punch. We're making a bit of a middle of the... what's it called? Middle of the video change. Thunder Punch or Wild Charge are definitely more... I definitely do Thunder Punch. Don't do recall moves. Supercell Slam is kind of one, but it's like a little different. Anyway, Thunder Punch is a bit of a safer option, but Supercell Slam only has a 95% or only has 95% accuracy, which means there's a 5% chance you miss, and if you do, you take a lot of damage. I think it's half your health, so be very careful there. If you want consistency, Thunder Punch is the way to go. If you want some fun, Supercell Slam is kind of cool. Focus Energy and Electric Terrain, of course, to boost you up. If you've got some Iron Hands you're playing with, maybe use Electric Terrain to give your whole team the boost. Focus Energy to boost your crit ratio, and then Belly Drum, of course, to give you +6 in attack. You keep in mind, because you're not using Drain Punch, you have to give the Shell Ball held item. Otherwise, this Pokemon won't be able to regen. So unfortunately, you can't go for the Scope Lens. That would make you guaranteed crits, basically. But you should be okay. With the Focus Energy, you'll still be hitting them somewhat often. Quark Drive, of course, is Pokemon's only ability. When it comes to EVs, I maxed out HP, maxed out attack, with the last 4 points in special defense, and made it Adamant Nature, which is plus attack and minus special attack. When it comes to IVs, everything matters except its special attack stat. Moving on to our next one, we've got another Pokemon you might already have built for some other basic raids. We've got Serperior. Serperior, of course, is a Grass-type Pokemon with the Tera type of Grass. You can give it the Shell Bell held item. Now, you might be asking me, Max, how is that going to work if Goodra has Sap Sipper? It's just not going to be able to hit it. After a Gastro Acid, it will. A Gastro Acid, of course, is a Poison-type move that eliminates the target's ability. If you use this, your entire team will be able to hit Goodra with Grass-type moves. You only need to use it once. If you already have a Serperior on your team, you don't even need to worry about it. Of course, from then on, it's just basic Serperior. Spam Leaf Storms, get +6. I threw on Energy Ball because you can only, even with a PP max, only use 8 Leaf Storms throughout the course of the game. So eventually you're going to need to resort back to Energy Ball. Light Screen, of course, to make it so you're taking less from those potential ice beams that might be thrown back at you, or even just like muddy waters and such. Help your team a lot by throwing up a Light Screen early on, because then the whole team will be taking less damage. You guys know the drill. Contrary is Serperior's big thing. Every time you use Leaf Storm with Contrary, you get +2 instead of -2, so it's basically like a free nasty plot, along with a very high base power. I want to say 110, 130, oh, even more than I thought, base power Grass-type move. Of course, you can make this Pokemon Tera Stellar and replace Energy Ball with a Tera Blast. In that case, once you do run out of Leaf Storms, you can still get +1 every Tera Blast, and it still will deal super effective damage. That could be useful, but that costs you some Stellar Tera Shards, and I don't even think I have a whole lot of those. So that definitely is the better option, but my kind of goal here is to make some accessible counters, so Serperior being a Grass-type Tera is more that than the Stellar type. When it comes to its EVs, I maxed out HP and special attack, and I put the last 4 points into special defense, of course, because again, I think Goodra's going to be primarily hitting there. When it comes to its IVs, everything matters except its attack stat, and I made it Modest Nature, which is plus special attack and minus attack. Moving on to our next Pokemon, we've got another Grass type. I bet you guys can guess what the gimmick here is. A Victory Bell is a Grass and Poison type Pokemon with the Tera type of Grass. Give it the Shell Ball held item. Gastro Acid once again. You're going to lead with that. Same with Serperior. I should make that a little bit more clear. Lead with that. That way you can hit those Leaf Storms. Otherwise, you're just going to be feeding into the Sap Sipper that this Goodra might have. If you lead with Gastro Acid, it'll hit. Not only will that build your Tera... Oh, no, it won't, because it doesn't have power. My bad. I was thinking of Acid Spray. You're going to need to attack a couple times after you build your Tera. But then you'll be able to hit with Grass moves. So it's very, very important. This is kind of more of a setup Pokemon, as you can see with Swords Dance on there. We've got Clear Smog on there in case Goodra has something that starts boosting its own stats. You can throw one of those down. It's a damaging move, so if you're not at Tera quite yet, it'll help you build your Tera, which can be very nice. And of course, run a Swords Dance or two, then start Power Whipping away. You can replace Power Whip with Leaf Blade if you want something that hits more consistently, because Power Whip only has 85% accuracy, but that 120 base power is just too much to pass off. And funnily enough, Victory Bell here has a pretty high base attack stats at 105, assuming... what I'm looking at is correct, which, yeah, it is. So it's going to be hitting pretty hard after a Swords Dance or two with those Power Whips. I max out its HP and its attack when it comes to its EVs, and then when it comes to its nature, it's Adamant. So that's up attack minus special attack. It's going to be hitting a little bit harder than Serperior early on, and if they're comparable, so if they're both +6 in their respective attack stats, I believe Victory Bell will actually be hitting harder because Goodra has such a lower physical defense. So keep that in mind. And again, if it runs a... I don't know, we'll say Curse, for example, or a Shelter, go for a Clear Smog, and then you don't have to worry about it. None of this Pokemon's abilities really do a whole lot. I left Chlorophyll on because I think that was the only one that might do something. I believe the other one is Gluttony, and this Pokemon's not holding a berry, so that literally does nothing. When it comes to, I think I already said it's EVs, it's Adamant, IVs, everything matters except a special attack. And again, the ability doesn't really matter much. Chlorophyll is the only one that might be applicable, and even then, that's only if your team uses the Sun, so you can kind of leave whatever you get. Moving on to our next Pokemon, we've got Lapras. Now, this Lapras is definitely a defensive set. You are using this Lapras to not die and support your team, not to do damage, so keep that in mind. Lapras, of course, is a water and ice type Pokemon with a Tera type of ice. I gave it leftovers to keep it alive a little bit longer, and you'll see pretty quickly why I'm saying this is a defensive set. I call this the freeze, dry, and don't die Lapras. It's kind of focused around keeping your team alive, as you can see there with the Life Dew and Helping Hand, so you can deal a little bit more damage. I'd honestly lead with a Dragon Cheer or maybe save it for once your team kind of gets set up, because that little crit boost can be pretty useful. You'd be surprised how many crits I've gotten because of very clearly a Dragon Cheer. I guess I can't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure a Dragon Cheer. What makes this Lapras so good is the ability of Water Absorb. That Goodra is not able to hit you with its water moves that's going to be thrown out. And if it does, you just get some healing. You can throw it on a Life Dew to keep your team alive as well. Helping Hand. Lapras unfortunately doesn't get Light Screen. I looked into it. It does get Reflect. So if this is a more physical Goodra for whatever reason, maybe throw that on there instead of, we'll say the Dragon Cheer. When it comes to its EVs, you want to max out HP, max out Special Defense, and I put the last 4 points in Special Attack, so those Freeze Dries do a little bit more. Because it is worth noting, I should mention this, Freeze Dry, despite being an Ice-type move, hits Water type super effectively, so it is hitting that Goodra for super effective damage. That's why you're Tera Ice. Just in case your team needs a little bit of extra damage, you can Tera and start pressing Freeze Dries for a little bit of extra damage. It won't be dealing a whole lot. Unfortunately, we have very little special attack investment, and Lapras has like pretty good special attack, but nothing extraordinary. So if you really need it, you can go for it. Otherwise, you're definitely just going to get more value out of Helping Hands and making sure your team stays alive with that Life Dew. When it comes to its EVs, max HP, max special defense, last 4, I already mentioned that, and a special attack, my bad. And when it comes to its nature, I made it Calm, which is plus special defense and minus attack. When it comes to its IVs, everything matters except its attack stat. And again, Water Absorb will help keep you alive against those powerful muddy waters. Moving on to our next Pokemon, we've got a physical attacking electric type in Luxray. So this kind of hits all of Goodra's weaknesses. Electric, obviously, is both its original typing and its Tera type in the Shell Ball held item. Supercell Slam, of course, is this Pokemon's main damage output. Keep in mind that you can take a lot of recoil. I believe it's exactly like High Jump Kick, where if you miss on that 5% miss chance here, you take half your health and recoil, so be a little bit careful about that. You've got Charge to boost your special defense a bit. Light Screen's up there too. What's interesting to note about Charge is every time you use it, your next electric attack will do double damage. So keep that in mind. You can get some pretty powerful hits there, and especially once you combine it with that Tera and a couple Howls. Now, the reason I have Howl on here, as opposed to something that boosts by more than one stage, I don't even know if Luxray gets any of that. Let me look. Do you get Nasty Plot? You do not. Do you get... I think that's really it. Yeah, okay. Nasty Plot wouldn't even work. What am I thinking? You do not get Swords Dance. There we go. We got Howl because you don't get any other options. Howl also boosts your team's attack stat. So if you're running this thing alongside an Iron Hands or a Victory Bell, you're boosting them too. So Howl is very, very good in these raids. When it comes to its ability, none of its abilities are ridiculously applicable. Intimidate might have some uses. I was thinking about making this a Guts set, but the issue with that was there's no way for this Pokemon to heal, and you kind of definitely need that on a Guts Pokemon in a Tera Raid. So Intimidate just kind of work, because in case you go down, every time you switch back in, you'll lower the Goodra's attack stat, which it probably won't be using, but at least it's something, right? It might be using it a little. When it comes to its EVs, I maxed out HP, maxed out attack, the last 4 points in a special defense. I made this Pokemon Adamant, which is plus attack minus special attack, and then gave it with its IVs. That's the one thing I haven't mentioned. My bad. I maxed out everything except its special attack stat. It doesn't really matter. So again, Intimidate's the best ability. None of them do a whole lot. Rivalry's not really that great here because I don't know if Goodra's gonna have a set gender. I don't really know how that would work. So definitely run Intimidate over that. But if you have Guts, it should be fine. And lastly, moving on to our last build. I bet you all have one of these already made. We've got Bellybolt here. Bellybolt, of course, is an electric type Pokemon with the Tera type of electric and give it the magnet held item. While being a special attacker, which is a little bit worse against Goodra, Bellybolt can really take advantage of its ability Electromorphosis. Every time this Pokemon is hit with a move, it gets the charge state, in which case its electric moves do double damage next turn. Acid Spray can make it so you're hitting even harder, even though Goodra has that higher, special defense. If my math is correct, after a single Acid Spray, because I believe you should be dealing more, actually. After a single Acid Spray, I think it halves, maybe? I don't really remember it. I know +2 is doubling, I think. I should really know that, but okay. So go for an Acid Spray, go for a Light Screen if your team needs it. Parabolic Charge is kind of like Electric type Giga Drain, so if you're struggling to stay alive, which you probably will be early on, go for a couple of those. But if you Tera and press that Thunder button after a couple acid sprays and you have the Electromorphosis charge, you're gonna like blow a hole in the Goodra. It's gonna do a ridiculous amount of damage. So keep that in mind as like one last Hail Mary play if we need it. When it comes to its EVs, I max out HP, max out special attack, but last 4 points into special defense, so you'll be able to take those muddy waters a little better. Again, Electromorphosis is incredibly important, so definitely make sure this Pokemon has it. When it comes to its IVs, everything matters except its attack stat, and I made this Pokemon Modest, which is plus special attack and minus attack. That being said, that's all of our builds here today. We've got some fun ones, we've got some pretty good ones. I'm thinking about specifically this Belly Bolt, and honestly, the Victory Bell seems like a fun option too. I hope you guys saw one. You are looking forward to using against this Water Tera Goodra. I'm excited to do these raids. I know you guys are too. I hope to see you guys out there in the raid ends. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.